Hi, my name is Lucy Trueman. I'm an organisational psychologist and also the founder of Trueman Change, and welcome to Psychology Fridays, which is where we take a particular topic within organisational psychology and we apply it into the workplace and think about what that means from a practical basis. So today I want to talk about what is simultaneously one of my favourite topics but also most hated, and that is leadership. And the reason it's my most hated is because, academically speaking, it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit chaotic. There's a huge amount of lots of different information out there, and to be perfectly frank, I don't believe we have nailed it by any stretch of the imagination yet. And I wanted to give you a super quick history lesson of a particular perspective of viewing leadership. So this is one of many perspectives, but that is this kind of attributional leadership. So it's where people have believed over time that good leaders are born with certain attributes. So this started in the 19th century, where we believed that leadership was innate. There was this sense of destiny about it. In the early 20th century, we started looking at traits, but these included things like height and weight, which now looking back, we think, really? I'm not sure where that came from. Mid-20th, we started thinking about skills, which was probably a bit more productive, and late 20th century behaviour. But still, although we don't necessarily use the same language, I do still think there is a fascination of what makes a good leader and what special traits are there. When in actual fact, there's a couple of issues with that. Firstly, I think it's extremely reductive. I think leadership is much more complex. Secondly, I think it's worth bearing in mind that a lot of that research that was done over that time would have been pretty much all male focused. We didn't have women in the workplace during a lot of that period, and so we have to think very critically about how our view of what leadership traits are may be skewed by that data. Also, from my own personal research, which was all around how we made change happen so quickly during the pandemic, one of the overwhelming findings of that was we changed our style because the circumstance was different. So this ability to read a situation and change your style and what you bring to the table as a result of it is actually very powerful, and arguably a lot more powerful than specific traits that you may or may not have learned or been born with. So I guess my lesson for this one, I do try and leave you with some practical tips. I don't think there is some practical tips other than, by all means, go out there and learn about leadership. There's so much out there. Just approach it with a little bit of a healthy scepticism, because I think we're still on a journey. In the same way that we can laugh looking back at some of the research that was done years ago, I wonder if we will feel the same a few years from now. And will we ever really get to grips with what a good leader is? Or is a good leader somebody who steps up in that situation at that time in the right way, and it's actually fairly intangible? I look forward to continuing that journey and keeping learning. So I think that's the takeaway. Healthy scepticism, keep learning, and follow your gut.